My friends are my power. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Welcome back to the Basement Yard Podcast. I'm Joe. That's Frankie.
No.
No. Well, you don't want that intro?
No.
All right, this is Nerd Explosion. Welcome back. We do the same stuff every week, every Saturday. But, you know, first of all, I'm Cameron. She's Caitlin. Now that I actually pose that question and do that joke intro, which one of us is who, you would say? I just had that random thought, like, who would be who?
Oh, I'm for sure Joey.
Really?
100%.
Really?
100%.
You know, now that I think about it, I would probably be Frankie.
Yes.
Because I would give off, I don't know what he gives off, but whatever that energy is, I give off.
Correct.
Speaking of silly, goofy stuff, today's episode, we are getting into the world of Monty Python, and if the neighbors would calm down for just a goddamn minute, I could get to what we're actually, more specifics. But I suppose we can just get into the episode for that.
Correct.
New episodes of this podcast come out every Saturday, do all the things and do all the stuff, but let's just, Kate does something else. Apparently she's going to go off on an adventure. Bye. Have a beautiful time. Bye. See ya. So long. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye. I don't even know what she's doing. She just ran to the other side of the apartment. But anyway, Monty Python. Now, obviously the theme, I totally did the intro like really different, so I'm just really like all kinds of scatterbrained at the moment.
He's vibing.
But as you guys know, the theme we were going with this month, while Kate shuffles around her microphone, is guilty pleasure movies. And obviously today we are covering. You know what? Why don't you talk for a little bit? I don't know where I'm going with this.
We are discussing the fucking Anyway.
You can't even talk either.
Monty Python and the search for the Holy Grail.
Well, not just the Holy Grail, but like a couple different Monty Python movies that I love, because I know for me personally, Monty Python movies are a guilty pleasure of mine. Like, I'll always watch them whenever I can, like especially Holy Grail and Meaning of Life.
And Life of Brian. I mean, both, like, Life of Brian and Holy Grail I've seen more often than not. And Meaning of Life I've seen, I can't remember the last time I say it. I was actually talking with my dad the other day about it, and he brought that up. I'm like, God, it's been forever since I've seen Meaning of Life. Yeah.
But I suppose, which one do we want to get into first?
The heckin', well, let's do the Holy Grail last, because that's the only one that I've seen several times.
Holy Grail last? Okay, sounds good. Let me get into Life of Brian. Where are you, Life of Brian? I was not prepared for this. I'm scatterbrained. I'm tired. The neighbors are pissing me off. Everything. Life, I tell you. So, Life of Brian. Now, I could go into the Wikipedia of this, but I just want to go over the overview that Google has.
Yeah.
A young man. Well, first of all, I feel like we should kind of go into what Monty Python is first, for people who may not know.
The greatest gift to ever come from the UK.
Monty Python, well, they had a sketch show called Monty Python's Flying Circus, and basically, think Saturday Night Live, but British. And like from the 70s and 80s. And it was just a lot of stupid, silly humor. Like, one sketch I remember vividly is these two people just chilling at home, listening to the radio, and they turn it on to this one station that tells like stories, whatever. And the person over the radio is, and now, Mary Queen of Scots. And you just hear two people be like, are you Mary Queen of Scots? I am! And then they just push her down the stairs, and it's like 2 minutes of her just falling downstairs. But most people obviously know Monty Python because of like Holy Grail and Life of Brian. But to go over what Life of Brian is,
A young man, Brian, who was born one stable down and on the same night as Jesus, becomes intrigued by a young rebel, Judith. To try and impress her, Brian joins the independence movement against the Romans, the People's Front of Judea. However, in an attempt to hide from the Romans, he relays some of the teachings he heard from Jesus, which ends up spurring a crowd to believe he is the Messiah. While trying to get rid of his followers and reunite with Judith, he embarks on several misadventures. So basically, just this poor guy who was just trying to help, the people of his town or whatever,
Literally
and people end
just
up
trying
actually
to do his
believing
best.
he's Jesus.
He's not the Messiah.
He's not the Messiah.
He's a very naughty boy. It's so spectacularly stupid.
I think this is the one where at the ending he does end up getting crucified by mistake, because they put him on the cross and put him up because obviously they think he's Jesus. They did the same thing to Jesus, but they think Brian is Jesus. And I think this is the one that ends with that one song, always look on the bright side of life.
This is also the one that we get biggest dickus from.
Oh yes, that's my other favorite part of this. So there's a thing with the Romans, and I forget the actual character's name that's talked about, but he's like the emperor, right, at the time. And apparently in this scene they were talking about they were referencing another Roman leader named Biggest Dickus. Now, the guy who played the emperor in the scene knew the lines or whatever. He had lines, and I'm pretty sure everybody else had lines too, but nobody else was told about the whole Biggest Dickus thing. So this guy just went on a whole Biggest Dickus thing up to each of the people who were playing guards, and they were trying so hard not to laugh because they were told in the scene, they weren't given lines. They were just told not to laugh.
Yeah. So the guy comes up and he's like, "Is there something
funny about the name Biggest Dickus?"
And they're trying so hard, but they can't. They're doing everything they can not to break character. It's so fucking funny.
I think there's a scene before that where they send Brian to do graffiti, whatever. It's Death to Romans or something.
Yeah.
And there's some Roman guards that catch him, but instead of arresting him, one of them corrects his pronunciation.
Yeah.
Or corrects his graffiti, and he's like, "You gotta write it like this." He's like, "Oh, okay, thank you." So he continues the graffiti all over these ruins or whatever, or this temple. Oh, because this Roman soldier was like, "Actually, you gotta write it this way, proper pronunciation and grammar and all that."
If you're gonna do it correctly.
Life of Brian is just it's classic Monty Python wackiness, and I think the same guy who is Brian in this is also the one who ends up playing King Arthur in Holy Grail. But to go over this cast listing, you got Terry Jones, Eric Idle, John Cleese, Graham Chapman, Terry Gilliam. Those five being the main Monty Python crew.
Biggest dickus.
Any other things any other stuff on Life of Brian?
For some reason, the guy who plays... So, who's the guy who plays Brian?
I think that's Terry Jones. I don't know. I didn't look it up because, the same thing with a lot of these Monty Python movies. You got one person playing multiple characters.
Because I thought the guy that played Brian was the same guy that played the prince of the castle, the mud castle.
Yeah, well... Like I said, that's the thing. This with a lot of these Monty Python ones, more than you have a person playing more than one character.
Well, yeah, but you said he was
Graham Chapman is Brian.
Okay.
And also Biggest Dickus. We got Eric Idle as Mr. Cheeky, Stan, aka Loretta, Harry the Haggler. I'm trying to... There's no other names I recognize. I'm sure rewatching the movie I'd recognize a lot of these names, but yeah, you got the main few people playing multiple characters at once, and
the usual suspects.
Mm-hmm. Anything else from Life of Brian you want to talk about?
No, I just like them. I like the he's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. And the Biggest Dickus bit. And how he's genuinely just bumbling through life.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot I wanted to go into, and I'm kind of rapid firing through these because we're kind of on a time crunch with this episode. So I guess if that's all we have to say on Life of Brian, I will move on to the one that probably everyone knows, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
We just watched that the other day.
Yeah, we literally just watched this like 2 days ago.
I fucking love that movie.
A comedic stand-up of the grim circumstances of the Middle Ages is told through the story of King Arthur and framed by a modern-day murder investigation. When the mythical king of the Britons leads his knights on a quest for the Holy Grail, they face a wide array of horrors, including a persistent black knight, a three-headed giant, a cadre of shrubbery-challenged knights, the perilous Castle Anthrax, a killer rabbit, a house of virgins, and a handful of rude Frenchmen. So let's just go down that
general direction.
Go down that list bit by bit. So first we got the persistent black knight, which is probably the one thing, everybody knows.
Have at you.
So, he comes across a black knight. Do you mind not fingering your slime in front of my eyes? That's going to be clipped. That's going to be the clip I'm sharing on TikTok.
Can you not finger your slime in my presence? I can't help.
It's just going to be like, this is a thumbnail of like obviously a Monty Python episode, and all the clip is going to be is, can you not finger your slime?
I can't not touch it.
Whatever, do you? Whatever helps you sleep at night.
I'm gonna.
But anyway, so in this, obviously, again, you got the main few playing multiple characters with, I believe, Graham Chapman. Yeah, Graham Chapman is King Arthur. You got Eric Idle as Sir Robin. John Cleese as Lancelot. Terry Jones as Sir Bedivere. Michael Palin as Brother Maynard. And there's like a whole different bunch of characters. It's like one of those you definitely have to watch. But going back to that thing, going down the list of events bit by bit, we have the Black Knight who King Arthur comes across and tries to cross like the tiniest bridge. And he's just like, he asks him to join his court at Camelot. He's like, you have proven yourself. Well, he sees him fighting somebody else. And he's just like, you have proven yourself worthy. Will you join me? Black Knight says nothing. King Arthur, you make me sad. So be it. Come, Patsy. Sad. None shall pass. What? None shall pass. I have no quarrel with you tonight, but I must cross this bridge. Then you shall die. I command you, as King of the Britons, to stand aside. I move for no man. And then they fight, and then King Arthur just keeps lopping limbs off, but the Black Knight just keeps trying to fight back. Look, you stupid bastard, you got no arms left. Yes, I have. Look, just a flesh wound.
Tis but a flesh wound.
Tis but a scratch. A scratch? Your arm's off. No, it isn't. Oh, look, what's that then? I've had worse.
And then, as he's laying there, just a fucking stump of a human being. No arms, no legs. He's like, that's right, run away, you yellow-bellied bastards.
I'll bite your limbs off.
So fucking funny. I love the Black Knight.
The one scene before that, I got you a pop
of the Black Knight once.
You what? Oh yeah, I do. Yeah. I have a pop figure of the Black Knight. Another scene before that, which is both our favorites, is the Constitutional Peasants. Where basically this peasant he comes across tells him about like the injustice in his system or whatever.
Hold on, can I do it?
Are you gonna look it up?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of remember it by heart. So he basically explains to these peasants that he's king because he was handed the sword Excalibur from the Lady of the Lake. And the one peasant is like, listen, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is not a basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony. I mean, you can't expect to wield supreme executive power, just kill some watery tot throw a sword at you. I mean, if I went around saying I was emperor because someone threw a scimitar at me, they'd throw me away.
His name is Dennis.
I didn't know you were called Dennis. You didn't bother to find out, did you? I think I got it pretty much word for word.
Shut up, will you? Shut up. Now we see the violence inherent in the system. Shut up. Come see the violence inherent in the system. Help, I'm being repressed. So fucking funny.
Oh my god.
Help, I'm being repressed.
You saw repressing me, didn't you?
And then Arthur says bloody peasant, and Dennis says, "Oh, what a giveaway. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Hey, that's what I'm on about. Did you see him repressing me? You saw it, didn't you?"
And then obviously, so they'd get all together, and when they find out their quest for their quest is to find the Holy Grail, they get told this by God, who appears in the sky. Alright, sorry, technical difficulties because my computer is literally a piece of shit. But another scene I kind of wanted to talk about going down is, I was talking about the Holy Grail thing. So they get stopped by, God appearing in the sky, telling them to find the Holy Grail. And at first, obviously they're looking away and everything. And he's like, "What are you doing?" "I'm averting my eyes, O Lord." "Well, stop it." It's like those Psalms. They're so depressing.
They're so depressing.
And then, God basically tells them to find the Grail. And so they're going... Oh, no. First, there's a part where they find Camelot.
Yeah.
And they come across it and just, Camelot. And then Patsy, "It's only a bottle."
It's only a bottle.
"Knights, I bid you welcome to your new home. Let us ride to Camelot. When knights in a round table, we dance whenever we're able."
So they do this whole little singing bit, and then all of a sudden it cuts back to them in the foreground, and Arthur says, "Actually, let's not go to
Camelot.
Tis a silly place."
Okay.
So funny.
So then they find this other castle, which they believe, they don't know the Grail is there, but obviously they're gonna try to see who's there. And they call off for somebody, and then there's this guy just pops up on the top of the wall. "Hello? Who is it?"
"Who is it? Then why are you... I am French. Then why are you in Britain?"
"Whose castle is this?" "This is the castle of my master, Daddy Lamad. Would you ask your master if you would like to join our quest for the Holy Grail? I don't think he'll be very keen. Yeah, he's already got one, you see." "What?" "He says I've already got one." "Are you sure?" "Yes, it's very nice." And then he turns to the other ones. "I told them we already got one."
It's so funny.
And this is the part probably a lot of people remember. He gets after him and taunts him. And this is the part where it's like, "I fought in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelled of elderberries." And then they drive Arthur and them off by literally catapulting a cow at them.
"Run away!
Run away! Run away!" Even before that, when he's getting the knights, when he comes across Sir Bedivere.
Yeah.
So first of all, that scene starts with monks walking through the street, just chanting. But first of all, they're just the part where they're like, "Pierre su domine, whoosh, dodo is requiem, whoosh." And the whoosh is them hitting themselves in the face with boards. Which, fun fact,
one of the actors hit himself a little too hard and actually stumbled, and they kept it in.
Yes, if you look back and watch it again, you watch towards the bottom of the screen, you see one of them stumble a bit because they hit themselves so hard. They're just
so
whoa.
Funny.
But then that goes on to this whole crowd of people just dragging a woman, yelling that she's a witch.
Witch!
And they bring her to, Sir Bedivere. And there's "We found a witch, maybe burn her. How do you know she's a witch? She looks like one."
"They dressed me up like this."
"Did you dress up like this?" "No, a bit. She has got a wart." "How do you know she's a witch?" "She turned me into a newt." "A newt?"
I got better. It's just a fucking random guy. "She turned me into a newt."
"She turned me into a newt." So he goes through all these logic things about how she could be a witch. And ultimately leads down to, if she weighs the same as a duck, she's made of wood, and therefore a witch. Because they assume that witches burn because they're made of wood.
Which is hilarious.
So they bring this woman to a scale, and she does weigh as much as a duck. So she sees that, and she's like, "That's a fair cut." And she's just like, "Well, I guess. Fair's fair."
Ain't that about a bitch?
Actually, let me go back to the list of events. Three-headed giant. Oh yeah, they come across this three-headed giant who tries to stop him in this forest, and they talk about killing Arthur and them, but obviously the three heads can't agree on anything. They're like, "Oh, we
was that just Arthur, or was that Sir Robin?
I think it was Arthur and Bedivere. This was before they had everyone.
Oh yeah.
They're just like, quick, get the sword, I want to turn this out. Okay, we'll kill him, and then we'll have tea and biscuits. Right. Oh, not biscuits. All right, fine, no biscuits, but let's kill him anyway. Right. And then they look, and he's gone. He's buggered off.
He's buggered off.
The next one, a cadre of shrubbery challenge knights, otherwise known as the knights who say "ni." Ni. We shall say "ni" again to you if you do not appease us. But what is it you want? We want a shrubbery. The one part that just came to mind, I like how this isn't even us, educating people on Monty Python and Holy Grail. This is just us
quoting
talking
us the
about
movie.
it. But there's this random scene with it's this guy filming. He's quoted as a famous historian, as like the text on screen says, and he's like telling the events of Arthur. Like it's supposed to be like a modern day like history thing.
Yeah.
And it just keeps zooming out as the guy's talking, and then all of a sudden you hear like a horse galloping, and then all of a sudden just and a knight comes by and slits his throat.
And that is the modern day murder investigation that is also simultaneously happening throughout
That's like a
this entire
subplot
movie.
that's going on.
So funny.
The Perilous Castle Anthrax. So basically, at one point in the movie, they decide, King Arthur and the knights decide to split up individually to try to look for the Grail.
Yeah.
So I think Sir Galahad ends up at Castle...
Sir Galahad the Pure.
The Chaste.
The Chaste.
So he ends up at this castle called Castle Anthrax, which is just all women.
Very, very horny women.
And obviously him being the Chaste, he, is resisting sexual temptation.
Yes.
So the reason Sir Galahad is there is because he thought he saw the Grail there, but he, as one woman explains, he's like, my naughty sister lit our beacon, which I just remembered is Grail shaped.
Which I just remembered is Grail shaped.
He's like, naughty suit, she must pay the penalty. And then I love the part in this. She turns like towards the camera, and she's like, do you think this scene should have been cut? We were so worried when the boys were writing it. And, some other characters kind of pop up. It cuts to other different characters, and they're like, oh, at least, this scene was this. And then you get other characters being like, get on with it.
Get on with it.
Yes, get on with it.
The movie is very self-aware. But all of Monty Python, I think, is very self-aware.
I forget what the actual character's name but she obviously is saying that, like, oh, my sister's naughty for tricking you and coming here. And she's like, now the punishment, you must bend her over and spank her. And then after she's gotten a good spanking, you must spank me and all of us.
And
then after the spanking, the oral sex.
So funny.
And then just as Galahad's be like, well, I suppose I just stay for a bit, Lancelot comes in and just pulls him out of there.
Yeah, and he's like, you were in terrible danger. And he's like, no, I wasn't. Let me go back.
Yeah, Galahad is like, I could have taken them all single-handedly. And the woman's like, yes, let him handle us single-handedly. And he's dragging him out, trying to justify it. And then Galahad, as the scene closes out, Galahad is like, bet you're gay. And then Lancelot's just, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
All their individual scenes are just hilarious. I forget, what was the one with Robin?
Robin, I thought.
Robin was the one with the three-headed knight.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it was Sir Robin that ran into the three-headed knight.
Yeah, and then Lancelot.
So, yeah, the thing with that, Robin, before Robin gets his three-headed knight, he has his minstrels behind him, singing how brave he is.
And he's not, actually. He's a fucking yellow-bellied coward.
As soon as they, escape the three-headed knight, his minstrels are like, brave Sir Robin ran away. And he's like, no, I didn't.
No, I didn't.
No, Lancelot's bit was hilarious. Probably my favorite part of the whole
Lancelot's
movie.
is my favorite part. Because he just, Lancelot goes in swords a-swinging.
So
no questions asked.
Of it cuts to this other castle where there's this prince and this lord of the castle. And the prince is said to be married. And he's just like, Father, I don't want any of that. I'd rather just sing.
And the lord of the castle is very anti-singing.
Very anti-singing. So basically traps him in this room, and there's a whole great bit with the guards in there where they just don't understand. Like, no, make sure he stays in here until I get back.
Right, so he stays in here, and
you stay here and make sure he doesn't leave the room.
So good.
So then the prince sneakily, well, not very sneakily, he stares at the guards the whole time, sends a note out the window through, out the window through with an arrow. And we then cut to Lancelot and Robin going through the woods, and all of a sudden the arrow with the note just impales Robin, just boom, and then Robin's like, "Message for you, sir." Again, Eric Idle, great actor.
That wasn't Robin, was it?
No, not Robin. That was. It's the same actor. That's why I get confused.
It was Lancelot.
It was Eric Idle, but it was Lancelot's
little guide guy. His horse.
Yeah,
lack of a better term.
His horse.
His quote unquote horse.
Which, for those of you that don't know, there's no actual horse. They don't actually ride on horses. It's just people behind them with two halves of coconuts.
Yeah. Fabulous.
So then, basically, Lancelot reads his note and he thinks, "Oh, there's a princess that's in danger. I have to go rescue her." So, and then we get to the whole wedding thing. They're all setting up, and then there's these two guards, obviously ushering people in, and they look up, and then you see Lancelot running from a distance, and it cuts back to the guard, and then it cuts back to Lancelot, who is the same distance away running, and it cuts back and forth a few times where Lancelot it's the same clip of Lancelot running, like he doesn't get any closer. And then all of a sudden Lancelot just appears, stabs the one guard, runs in, and the other guard looks down, looks in, and he's just like, "Hey." So Lancelot goes in and just killing a bunch of these. "Oh, it's not a princess, it's a prince." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were a man," basically.
Yeah.
And then
it's okay.
The Lord comes in and he's just like, "You killed 8 wedding guests."
And my favorite.
He's like, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean." Or he's like, "You killed the bride's father. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Didn't mean to. You put your sword right through his head."
My favorite part about that whole bit is that Lancelot's like, sorry.
After he's literally just murdered a bunch of people, like, sorry about that, everyone. Sorry.
So funny. Oh, I love that movie.
Or the one, the one is basically trying to push through it, the woman that the prince is going to marry. He's just like, "Well, the prince is dead." So as Lancelot and the Lord are talking, the prince is setting up this rope to climb out the window. And as they leave the room, the Lord cuts the rope, and then you just hear,
so funny.
But then the Lord obviously looking at the bride that was to be, basically saying "Oh, I want her to see me as her dad."
In every legally binding sense.
"Since the death of her father, he's not quite dead. Since the near fatal wounding of her father, he's getting better." And then he motions to a guard. "For her father, who, when he seemed just about to recover, suddenly felt the icy hand of death upon him." And then you hear someone "Oh, he's died."
He's died.
Then all of a sudden somebody's like, "Look, the dead prince!" And it's Lancelot's minstrel, I guess you could call it, walking in with the prince. And he's just like, "He's not quite dead. No, I feel much better. You fell out of the tall tower, you creep. No, I was saved at the last minute. How? Well, I'll tell you." And then the music started. He's like, "No, stop that." And then Lancelot goes to escape. And he's like, "Sir, come," his minstrel's like, "Sir, come this way." And Lancelot's like, "No, it won't be good for my idiom. I need to state more."
I forget the word he said. Dramatically.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Dramatically. He's like, "Dramatically?" "Yes, dramatically." And then he swings up the rope, and then he comes back as people are sitting. And then as the scene closes out, he's like, "Excuse me, could somebody do me a push?"
I love Lancelot.
But then moving on to a later scene with all of them, they come across an enchanter.
"There are some who call me Tim."
And I believe that was the actor
forgetting his line.
Not, actually remembering what the name was supposed to be, so he just went with Tim.
But they were like, "Great, we love it, keep it in."
So he guides them to a cave, but there's a beast that they have to get through, which ends up being a white rabbit.
A wee bunny rabbit.
But apparently, it's the killer rabbit. And so at first, Arthur and them are like, "It's a fucking rabbit."
Run away,
So he sends one guy to deal with it. And he's like, all right, one dead rabbit coming up, and then the rabbit just immediately goes to the guy's throat and bites his head off.
Yeah, that rabbit.
And then Arthur's like, Jesus Christ! And then Tim's just like, I warned you. Oh, it's just a wee harmless rabbit, isn't it?
And then they'll do the whole thing with the holy hand grenade, and
the holy hand grenade adventure. It is one of the holy relics Brother Maynard carries.
Yeah, and then they go through like how to use it, and they're like, how do we do it? And then the whole like instruction.
First, thou shalt pull out the holy pin. Then thou shalt count to 3. No more, no less.
And it's like
3 shall be the number of the counting, and the number of counting shall be 3.
It's like a 5-minute spiel about how to just repeating itself. But I think the joke there is that like that's how most church services go.
So then, King Arthur has his grenade and he pulls it. He's like, all right, 1, 2, 5, 3, sir, 3. Throws it.
Oh yeah, that's a reoccurring thing is that King Arthur doesn't know how to count, so he goes from 2 to 5.
Oh yeah, because like after when they deal with the rabbit before they get the grenade, he's like, how many did we lose? Boris, Dwayne, and I forget the name. He's like, that's 5. 3, sir, 3. But I think it's after that is the one where they're going through the cave and it's like animated or whatever. They're like the classic Monty Python animation. Oh, it's thunderstorming out.
Gonna storm.
I was like, what the hell are you staring at? I'm like, oh, it's storming outside. But yeah, there's a scene where they go into the cave and one of the brothers, the priest or whatever, they find this cave writing who the brother translates it. And it's like, thou shalt find the Holy Grail in the castle of Ard. What? So he rereads it. The castle of Ard. It's like, oh, he must have died while carving it. Well, if he was dying, he wouldn't bother to carve Ard. So they come across this monster who's clearly animated, so it goes into a little animated bit. And then the narrator is just like, the great beast lunged at the knights. All hope seemed lost, when suddenly the animator suffered a fatal heart attack. And it goes to an actual guy like at an animation board just falling over in a chair.
So
the
good.
cartoon peril was no more.
The cartoon peril killed me.
But then it goes to the Bridge of Death scene with the old man from scene 24.
Is your name?
What is... Stop. You want...
Is your name?
Yeah, doesn't Lancelot go first?
Yeah.
He's like, what is your name? Sir Lancelot the Brave. What is your quest? I seek the Holy Grail. What is your favorite color? Blue. Right, off you go.
Right, off you go.
And then I think Robin tries it and he's like, that's easy. What is your name? Sir Robin. What is your quest? I seek the Grail. What is the capital of Assyria? I don't know that. It just launches him into the chasm. Or no, pit of despair.
And then poor Galahad goes next, and he's like, what is your name, Sir Galahad? What is your quest?
I seek the Grail. What is your favorite color? Blue.
No, wait.
No, yellow. And then Arthur goes, what is your name? King Arthur, King of the Britons. What is your quest? I seek the Holy Grail. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? What do you mean? African or European swallow? I don't know that. And the old man launches to the pit of despair.
So
and then
good.
Bedivere, how do you know so much about swallows? Well, you have to know these things when you're a king.
You have to know these things when you have to know these things when you're king.
And so anyway, God, I don't even know if we have time to talk about Meaning of Life at this point.
Well, I mean, that's kind of okay because I've never seen Meaning of Life.
It's been forever since I've seen it too.
But the quest for the Holy Grail is one of my favorite. Oh, and I love how the whole movie ends with them gearing up to get into a battle with the French people.
Well, yeah, so they come across this castle, which they believe is finally the place where to find the Holy Grail. And it turns out the French knights from before are there. And so...
basically insinuating that they went on this quest for months and months on end and just walked in a giant circle.
Just to be stopped by some French assholes.
Yeah, French assholes.
So basically all that's up to the knights of the Round Table is Arthur and... Jesus Christ.
That wasn't me, everybody. It was the slime.
But anyway, so all that's left is Arthur and Bedivere, because the rest have either died, or in Lancelot's case, he was arrested by the people who were investigating the murder from before.
Oh, is that what happened to Lancelot?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if that scene popped up, but yeah, it shows him in cuffs with, like, the police. So, Arthur and Bedivere suddenly gather a fucking army from nowhere, and then they launch an attack on the castle, but just before they get there, actual, like, police cars show up and stop everybody and try to arrest Arthur and Bedivere. Because, like, obviously, I don't know, it's
so
weird.
funny. And then the movie ends when one officer is like, that's enough, quit rolling.
Looks
and
at the cameraman, you're like, the cameraman puts his hand in there, and then everything, like, the reel burns, whatever, and everything goes dark. And then it just ends with fucking music just like,
so good.
It's so goofy. I love Monty Python stuff. I think I was telling you the other day too. I think only a couple actors. I don't know about the rest of them, but I know at least a couple of the people in this have had success
in American cinema.
Outside of Monty Python, in American cinema too, like John Cleese and Eric Idle.
Yeah, because Eric Idle was.
The others may have had some other success in American stuff too. I'm just stupid and don't know stuff.
John Cleese. John Cleese was the voice of somebody.
John Cleese was Fiona's dad in Shrek. And Eric Idle has done a lot of stuff, like just to name a few. Oh, the one thing I love, the other thing I saw Eric Idle in when I was a kid, besides Holy Grail, was Casper.
Is he the dad?
No, he was Dibs.
Oh, he was the ghost?
No, he was, the Kerrigan, the evil woman that tried to take over the manor.
Yeah.
That was her, like, so-called psychic.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like,
it's been a minute
like,
since
do you remember?
Casper too, yeah.
Because there's a scene where Dibs all of a sudden turns on her. My God, you are a child.
Sorry.
Anyway, God.
Just over here making my slime fart.
That is a great.
Sorry.
I was like, good thing you did that, because that would be severely taken out of context.
Just over here making my slime
We're just talking about Monty Python stuff, and you're like, yeah, just making my slime fart. But yeah, Eric, he was Dibs because. Are you done?
I want to say yes, but we both know that's a lie.
Anyway, like I'm trying to fucking say, it's so obviously Kerrigan's sidekick. She turns into a ghost to try to claim ownership of like the treasure or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then Dibs basically turns on her because he's just like, yeah, you've been kind of a bitch to me the whole time. So.
And he's like, actually, you're a fucking cunt.
Because he has like the juice or whatever that can turn ghosts human again.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've got the potion, I've got the treasure, and then Kerrigan's like, and you have a plane they catch, and just boots him out the window. But yeah, that's the only other thing I recognize Eric Idle from, at least from my childhood.
Doesn't he end up being a ghost after that too?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't show up again for the rest of the movie.
Oh.
But going back to Eric Idle movies, he was in Shrek the Third, so he was in a Shrek movie too. He was. You think he would be up higher on the cast listing, being a. Oh, he was Merlin. He was Merlin in the third Shrek movie.
Oh.
You know the one where, because in this one Justin Timberlake was Arthur Pendragon.
Oh, I forgot about that, yeah.
But yeah, there's, I don't know, any other thoughts on Monty Python stuff?
Not necessarily Monty Python, but I cannot hear the name Arthur Pendragon without thinking about a book series I just read.
I can't think of King Arthur without thinking about Holy Grail. And we're back.
Full circle, baby.
Full circle, baby. But yeah, I think with that, I think we'll bring this episode to a close. Definitely check out Holy Grail. It's on Tubi, and Life of Brian too.
Yeah.
And I think Meaning of Life is also on Tubi. At least that's where I watched it, because, you know, you can watch a lot of movies on there for free. You don't even have to sign up. Not sponsored, by the way, but
It was on
hey,
Netflix too, wasn't it?
Hey, Tubi, if you want to throw them some money. It was on Netflix, but they got rid of it. That's the first place I looked.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I guess with that, we'll close off this episode. That wasn't really educational about Monty Python.
It was basically
more about,
just a yappy hour. You're welcome.
it was us just being like, haha, we like this silly, goofy movie. But yeah, let us know.
We're just goofing. Noobu goofing.
Definitely check out Monty Python stuff. Like I said on Tubi, I think they have at least 3 of the movies. And I think they have Flying Circus on there too. But yeah, that's all we gotta say for this episode. Sorry, it's kind of scatterbrained, but, you know, shit happens.
Oh, when you said shit happens, I tried to make my slime fart. That would have been an amazing.
Oh my god. Okay, fine. We'll end the episode so you can play with your slime. Guys, do positive things out there. Jesus Christ. Drink your water, do positive things, make your slime fart. I've been Cameron.
Okay.
And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Nerds out.